Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Rimworld. Actually, I shouldn't say that. It's the first episode of Rimworld. Um, Heavily modded Rimworld, I should say. I've been getting the itch to play Rimworld. Now that I'm looking at this map, this is actually a really bad map. But we're gonna deal with it. This is heavily modded, as I said, and one thing that I want to point out is I kind of had a plan for this one. Usually I go into a Rimworld playthrough, and I really don't have a plan. I don't have an idea of what kind of story I want to tell. I really don't have a idea of like what kind of narrative I'm looking for. But this time I went in and I came up with an idea I wanted to do, a very specific idea. So the idea behind this playthrough is fairly simple. We are 6 clones essentially, because they're all basically the same person. They've been heavily modified. They are fully spec'd out with skills and with fully spec'd out with skills, but they also have bionic parts. And the reason for that is because these are meant to be clones. The idea is that these are heavily armed clones from like some vat somewhere, and every single one of them is, the best of their kind, and they've been sent down to this planet to essentially colonize it and figure out if there's anything useful here, figure out if there's any useful materials, figure out if there's any useful resources, figure out if the natives are any useful. And the other thing about this is, you look at the world map, it is a tribal world. This is not a technologically advanced world. The entire world is based of tribespeople, which means they don't have anything we can really trade to or from them. And also, they are much greater in number. Because normally, the way the game balances things out is that it balances out troops with equipment. So in this case, because there are no like pirates or other civilizations that are as technologically advanced as us, we have to worry about their large amounts of numbers. And so our goal kind of for this one is to establish a colony and either like subdue or sort of trade with others. So our goal is to basically like try to we don't want to exploit the natives unless we can. If we can exploit the natives, we're going to. If we can't exploit the natives, then we will do whatever we can to trade with them, and hopefully not worry about very much. The big raiders, these tribal raiders, which just raid for stuff. But we also have a hostile other tribe, probably because we're right next to them. But that aside, so the idea basically this time is to use our technological superiority, sort of establish a foothold here, and maybe establish some kind of like colony. And if we can uplift any of the natives, be via capture or trading or enslavement or what have you, we're on a Rimworld, so there's no rules. Now, looking at this map, I don't really like the way the layout of the map, mostly because of it's really hard to maneuver. But on the other hand, we do have this area, which I think this is where we're going to make our base, because it's easily defensible right here. Now, the problem with making our base easily defensible right here is because there's area to get onto the map from over here, and it's also sort of a very long walk around to everything. So we have to worry about that. But like I said, this is heavily modded. So you're going to see a lot of plants, a lot of trees, a lot of food groups, other things like that, that aren't in the base game. So with that said, let's start figuring out what we're going to do. How do I want to draw the wall? Like, I could draw the wall like right here, but that seems kind of dumb. I feel like I should be putting the wall here as a start off and just wall this whole thing off. Like right across there. Alternatively, I could just do it here and use all this for something later. I don't know. I want to wall. I guess we could wall this area right here off. Like do that, and then like dig that out. Guess we'll put a door. I usually like to do 9 by 9 rooms, so we'll put the door there. And then we can put our stockpile inside. Just put that there for now. Put that there. Yeah, I know when you call them as beds. We'll have beds soon. But I want them to... And the roof area... Alright, so this is here, so that means we need 11 by 11? We can build walls around the room. And of course, because they're all basically cyborgs, they'll all build very quickly. Why did you just... Here, hold the survival meals so we all don't starve to death. That's... Haul that shit out of here. We are going to need to build walls, obviously. I think I may have actually built this too. Wish there was like a measuring. Nope, that's exactly 11. Alright, so then we need to actually build a wall here. We are going to need furniture, so we're going to need... Not... Where's the wood we sent? I mean, we don't... Oh, there it is. Okay, so we're not nearly as in... Now we will, we're gonna change this... We will change and set the, how do I put it? We'll change and set the, priorities and everything later. We're not gonna do that right away. Why are you just doing nothing? Get to work. Okay. So now we have all that done. We are going to need to set up, very quickly, get food going. We're also going to need to get other things going. But first, just we'll smooth the floor. We'll put floors in later, I guess. God, I didn't. A little mad that there's stuff here because I just wanted to smooth the floor. So I guess we're not going to smooth the floor. Since there's grass and stuff in here. Don't want to use wood, but we're going to. Okay. Now what do we need to do? We need to get power going. Alright, so... Usually what I do is I set up... Let's see, I guess I could set it up over here. In which case, you need to dig out... Let's dig that out. Right, no roof area. Yeah, where's our components? Here's the steel. Oh, there are the components. Oh god, they're deteriorating. That's a problem. Someone could go haul those components. That'd be great. You really only haul like 7 components at a time? Oh god. Well, anyway, because of this, we will now. Usually, I don't really build all this much power, but we're going to do that this time. Right, build some of those. Wire the rooms. Alright, wire everything up, get it all ready to go. Power generation going. Alright, so we got plenty of materials, we got the power going. Now what do we need to do? We need to get a freezer going, so... Okay, where do we want to put the freezer? Now, we want to put the freezer next to where we're going to be putting our construction room. So logic would dictate that if we're going to put the we have to put the freezer next to the exterior because we're going to be pumping heat outside to cool off the inside. So if we're going to do that, we're going to put the construction room. I don't really want to dig into this, not too much anyway. And the reason for that is because I have a feeling when we get sappers and other such things, they're going to want to try and dig into here. So we don't want to do that. So I guess that means we're going to put I guess we can put the cooler here, and I'll put the construction rooms like here, because usually I need multiple construction rooms. That's not too bad. Alright, so here, 11 by... Oops. Take out 11 by 11. I guess I'll put some auto doors in. Deconstruct that door, put an auto door there instead. I wish you could upgrade doors. We struck compacted machinery, that's actually good. Now normally I like building things out of stone, not wood, but we don't really have the ability to do that yet. So we're actually going to have to start cutting down more trees to get some more wood so we can build some more walls. We'll do that tomorrow. Alright, so we survived day one. We survived day one. We have a rudimentary power system set up. We have a sort of bedroom. We're going to move all this around. We need to set up a freezer. And once we do that, we can start harvesting and planting crops and killing animals, all that good stuff. So we're going to forage first. That's the goal. Alright. Is 9 by 9? It is. It doesn't look 9 by 9 for some reason, but it is. We don't have a lot. Oh, we do have a lot of trees. Never mind. Here, chop all these trees down. Need all this wood. We'll grow more trees later, I guess. Guys, it's like 6 a.m. Get up. Get up. We have things to do. Alright, do that. Smooth the floor. You really haul that tree, all those trees already? Alright, well, we have more wood. That's good. They'll clean that up. I guess that means we're going to put the... I guess that means we'll put it here. So mine that out for me really quickly. Now normally I don't like having multiple doors to the outside, but I guess in this case it makes sense to do that. Trying to think of how I want to do this, because normally the way I do it is I set it up in blocks. But if I set it up here, it's going to look kind of awkward if I set the door midway through. It's not going to match up the way I want it to. I can't reinstall these, so actually I could deconstruct them, but I'll lose materials. Probably should have thought of that before I stuck them there. I suppose I could just dig all this out, actually. So cancel that. Cancel that. Another auto door there. Alright, dig that out. And we'll dig another one out here, and those will be our two, we call them our 2 building rooms. We'll put the freezer here. Just dig this out, I suppose. New area was revealed. Is it still indoors? Yes. Now we gotta haul all this crap out of here. We're gonna have a very big dumping stockpile. So we're gonna need it. No, don't haul things over there. No. I hate when they do that. I don't know why they thought, oh, this is a great place to haul things. Good. Now, there you go. Alright, build those walls. And we're going to smooth the floor. Alright. And then... 11 by 11. Then we'll just dig this area out, I suppose. I guess this will actually keep our freezer a little more protected, maybe. I'll put that there. We're actually going to disassemble that wall in time, mostly when we stick the coolers here, but we don't want, what we don't want is we don't want the roof to cave in. So we want to put the walls first so that doesn't happen. Not remove the floors, smooth the floors. Also, we've already filled that up. Oh, great. Now we're actually going to want to cut, I'm going to cut some of these plants and get rid of all this grass because it's a fire hazard. You guys can go to sleep. It's, you know. Alright, we can dig this out. Actually, let's make sure we have the built roof area. I don't think we have to worry about it because it's inside, but it's probably a good idea to make sure there's no roofs underneath or over top my power, and there are roofs underneath, over top my buildings. Now once they dig this out, we'll put the coolers in. Actually, we probably need to run power all through here when we start putting buildings in. Or, not buildings, production here. Let's move this out of the way. Now, we are going to have to start digging out some steel very quickly, but that's not a problem. Temperature. Cooler. So usually I start with 3 coolers. It's usually enough. Alright. We start down to like 16 degrees. We're just going to use a lot of power, but that's okay. Now we can get rid of this. And we can stick a stockpile in here. And we won't really need to worry about changing the stockpile anytime soon. At least not until... Where'd the squirrel go? Whatever. Won't need to change the stockpile anytime soon. At least until we start getting leather. Oh wait, I forgot. Got to turn corpses off here. No corpses. Stick all the corpses in the fridge. And we'll start doing that. Now we're going to cut all of the plants here. And that's both to give us a little bit of starting stuff and also to prevent fire. So in case there's like a lightning strike or a boom rat appears or something like that, the fire does not engulf our base. So there's a plus. Also, we get lots of, plants. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to put a table in here. My guys are eating off the floor. That's not very good. So let's put a wooden table, I guess, because it's what we can afford to use. And let's put stools in. Now, the big challenge here is going to be materials and supplies. That's kind of like the challenge I want out of this game. This game is all about resource management and getting a lot of resources. I also put a standing lamp, so they're not in the dark. So move production. So you see, we have a lot more different, a lot of different production things, and the reason for that is because I'm using I forget which mod it is that puts in milling stone and fertilizer and all sort of stuff. But basically, there's a lot of a lot of new things and a lot of new cooking materials and all kinds of shit like that. So we'll get into that more as we start like growing crops and things like that. But for now, we don't really need to worry about it. Not too much anyway. Build another door there so I can go in and out easier. And we also need to start digging out, trying to find like easy sources of steel that are lying around. We should also put in expand no roof area, and the reason for that is because we're going to disassemble all these walls. See, there's a boom rat. If that boom rat exploded and caused fire, it could burn our entire base down. Hey, you have stuff to do. Also, I forgot to put joy in here. Maybe you should put like a horseshoe thing, like right next to my door or something. Let's put there. Alright, yeah, we stuck compacted machinery. Wait. Okay, well, if you've already deconstruct all that. Deconstruct everything. And then we'll remove the floors too. So remove the floor. Wow, there's a lot of compacted machinery. That's actually really good. But it does mean that we need to expand the no roof area so it doesn't cause a cave-in. It doesn't collapse on top of us. I don't know why they wander all the way over there just to do that, but... Hey guys, maybe don't collapse the roof on yourselves. Okay. So now we're gonna get a bunch of steel, and hopefully a bunch of components. They're gonna pick up all the stone for some reason. Hey, I know you want to do that, but can you hold the components first? Because the components will actually like deteriorate. And we don't want that. Now, I'm actually kind of surprised it's raining so much. And the reason I'm surprised it's raining so much is because we are not in a rainforest biome. We are in a temperate biome. What else do we need to do? We also need to add a simple research bench, which normally I like to put on its own. And the reason I like to do that is because when we get the advanced research bench and then the... what's it called? Use the research tree and it's going to be like, you don't have a research bench. Yeah, I know. What's it called? Microelectrics moves into... multi-analyzer, that's what I'm thinking of. When we get that, it takes up basically like 8 or 9 things, like spaces, so we actually want to have room for that. Now we are using a lot of mods, so we have more vanilla turrets, which gives us better turrets. We also have things that add like terrain rehabilitation, which does just grow things inside, which is awesome. I love that mod because it brings a functionality that that was in Rimworld like Alpha 6 that's no longer in Rimworld, so which I wish they would bring back, because you used to be able to make dirt and put dirt on the ground and grow things inside, and that was like a major part of the game for a very long time. And then they removed it, and I was very unhappy about that, but now we have something that allows us to do that. We also have advanced power, like advanced nuclear power, which geothermal power. We will advance into advanced wind turbines, things like that. Advanced solar power is actually really awesome too. We also have the autopsy mod, which is really nice. Autopsy mod lets you basically dissect corpses and turn them into human leather, human meat, and organs, specifically heart, lungs, and kidneys. I don't know why you can't get their eyes and other things like that, but whatever. And And having all those organs is actually really useful, because using advanced autopsy, they aren't disgusted by it. You need a special thing called an autopsy table, which you can buy. But basic autopsy you can just do at a butchering table, and it will give you the same negatives as butchering human-like. Now, Vegetable Garden is the mod that gives us more recipes, which is what gave us all of the cooking ideas and things like that. Vegetable Garden allows you to grow more kinds of plants, which allows you to cook special things. Allows you to do resource plants, canning stuff. Also does soil stuff too. You can also do bulk refining. You can grow ambrosia, which is awesome. You can do advanced cooking, which allows you to do like candies and treats and things like that. You can do heated sun lamps, which are basically, 2-in-1 stuff. I'm not going to use those probably, but you can. Soil reclamation 2 allows you to convert sand and mud and other things like that into soil. You can grow synthread. You can also do hyperweave, which is pretty awesome. Agriculture 3 allows you to do, I believe they used to, where is it? Okay, flowers and trees. Okay, so it used to be that you had to grow a very specific extra flowers and trees. It used to be that if you wanted to grow fruit trees, which are a thing in this mod, you had to do a special thing, like a special research. But it looks like you don't have to do that anymore, so that's kind of nice. But that's a whole lot of stuff we have to research, and we'll get there. The first thing I want to research, though, is whenever we get around to it. Where is it? We want to get... not electric smelting. We haven't actually unlocked gun turrets, despite the fact that we have gun complex. We don't have gun turrets yet, so we're going to get gun turrets soon. But to get the multi-antilars, we need microelectrics, so that's what we're going to go for first. Which also allows us to trade and do things like that. What else do we need to do? I also want to get crops up and running, but to do that, I need to delete zone, because I want to move all of this up. I want to move all of this out of the way and start growing crops here. And I'm going to use a mod called tillable soil, which allows you basically to create soil that, grows crops faster. Basically all it does. So we're going to grow a couple things like that. And what this does is it adds a construction, which, as you might imagine, allows us to plant stuff on top of it. That's it. Later we will be able to research, what was it? Terrain rehabilitation. This allows us to turn smooth stone into dirt. And then we can till the dirt that we put down, and that allows us to grow crops inside. That's pretty nice. Okay, so I need you all to move all this stuff out of the way. Okay, so we need to call this thing something. We need to call this community something. I love the fact that the initial name is Seagraves. I don't know, what would we call this place? We'll call it Progress's End. No, that's stupid. Let's not call it that. God, what are we gonna? What are we gonna call it? What are we gonna call it? We're gonna call this community. Can we? Oh, you know what? We'll call it. It's a little mundane, I guess. We'll call it Fortune's Favor. That'll be the name of this community. Our faction is going to be called you know what? We'll just call them Progress Inc. Progress Incorporated. Because these are all clones and everything else, and they're designed to be horribly programmed, so that'll be fine. That's what we're gonna do. So we'll call it progressing. That's what we're gonna do. We had a room? Damn. Okay, what is here? I can see something that there's space there, but... Okay, well, that was underwhelming. So the last thing we're gonna do for this episode... delete that. Last thing we're going to do for this episode is we're going to set our growing zones. The only thing I have a problem with this mod is that it doesn't, like, the tilled soil doesn't always match with the squares, and so it can often be a little difficult to figure out what we're doing. We'll grow potatoes, we'll grow corn. So as you can see, there's also a lot of like new things like snow beets, carrots, oats, wheat, cocoa, sugarcane, tea, coffee, hops, flax, bamboo. There's lots of things you can grow, and we're getting even more stuff as we go along. So we probably want to grow, we want to grow things that we can eat immediately. Because the last thing, we grow cotton, we don't grow, well, the cotton has to be weaved, so we have to make sure we remember to do that. I guess we'll grow rice as well. Rice, we'll grow, what are we gonna grow here? We should probably grow cotton here. Probably should grow cotton here. And we'll grow, I guess, carrots here. And obviously they plant very quickly, which is good. And so that's what we'll do starting out. We also need to, like, harvest things out here. So I will set them to harvest lots of things and start acquiring all the good foodstuffs. Of course, in telling them to harvest, they won't gather it until they've harvested it all. But that's okay. So there's going to be stuff everywhere for a little bit while they, begin picking everything up. So there's lots of stuff that we will acquire, and then we'll start cooking things into other things. Because there's no more like normal meals and stuff in this mod. The bamboo gets harvested. It's not wood, but whatever. I said that was going to be the last thing we were going to do, and then I get distracted so easily. I'm so bad at that. I'm so bad at that. No, don't eat the berries. Don't eat the raw berries. Mad animal. Okay, well, this actually reminds me to do one more thing before we go. We need to turn off our drug policy. So we don't want them to use any drugs. Drugs are bad. We also want to set them to fighting. So if they are threatened by anything, we will use their guns and armor and everything else. We also want to turn on self-care. Now, this medical tab usually isn't in the game. We actually have the wildlife tab, the research tree tab, and the medical tab usually aren't in the game on its own. But they are for us, because I have mods to let us do that. And this allows self-tend. So we should be okay there. And I think that's it. I think that's all we need to do for now. We should probably also start hunting. Oh, that's way far away. I'm not worried about that. Alright, so they're picking up all the stuff. Probably should put a... The only problem with this mod is that it starts taking up lots of space in here. I used to use the more materials mod, or more ores, which gives you all kinds of like ores and other things. But I turned that off mostly because it was just way too much stuff. I also turned on the tidiness mod, which means that they have nothing else to haul. They will take the time to haul. They will go into your stockpiles and make sure that everything is in one stockpile. So, for For example, they will go into their stockpiles and make sure all the wood are in the largest possible stocks, or the food is in the largest possible stocks, so you don't have like seven different piles of like 3 wood. And that mod is also set in stack extra large, which allows you to set what you want all of your stacks, how big you want your stacks to be. I have mine set to 30 times the default. So everything is 30 can be put into stacks that are 30 times greater than normal. So body parts, for example, can be stacked in stacks of 30. Things that would normally only be able to stack in 100 can now be stacked in 300 or 3,000, things like that. Where is it? Quarries here. Metal tab. Okay, Mad Skills is another one I forgot to mention. Mad Skills determines whether or not you decay, or how much you decay skills. I have always set mine to 0 because I don't like skill decay in this game. Skill decay in this game is kind of awful in vanilla, because it's impossible to get skills like shooting and other things up to a decent level, because in the time it will take you for a colonist to go and shoot something and come back and go do it again, they will have deteriorated and lost all the skill they have in doing it. So it's sort of broken. And I don't understand why a colonist skill would deteriorate to the point like a couple days. It just doesn't make any sense. So actually, one last thing before you. I know I'm running late, but first, one last thing. Remove that. Haul those out of the way. And that way there's a room for them to walk. We also want to put concrete down. And the reason we want to put concrete down is so they're not tracking mud and dirt in very much. They also walk faster on concrete. And this will also stop grasses and other things from growing, and weeds and stuff, so we won't make any mistakes. Now, some would say this is a giant waste of materials, and they're not wrong. Well, it looks kind of awkward. Alright, let's nub that off. So next time we're going to finish cutting all these trees down and finish paving this, and hopefully start butchering, and I'll start getting into all the cooking. Because there's so much more cooking now than there was before. So we'll get into that next time. See y'all later.